And joining us this morning is Andrew Holsinger, horticulture educator with the University of Illinois Extension Office. And Andrew, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk to me this morning.
Hey, good to be here. You got it out.
We will eventually figure out how to get this thing to work. We're not there yet, but we will figure it out eventually. I joked with somebody else that by the time I get this all the buttons and everything all figured out, I'll have the new guy here and he'll be doing it. And then I won't have to worry about it. Then
Right.
I'll forget all about it, and the whole process will start all over again.
Yep.
But Andrew, always, like I said before, glad to have you on the show and glad to have you here. So you are the horticulture educator, and talk to us a little bit about horticulture, and obviously that is the trees, right?
Well, it's the
plants
in general. So it's the art and science of growing plants. And so there's a lot of art and science to horticulture. And so we have a lot of people that are in their landscapes. You know, the weather gets nice and people go out into their lawns and their gardens and they're looking at their plants, and then they call with questions to the extension office. So I'm available to answer questions.
Yeah.
And I may not know immediately the answer, but with time I can usually track down, because it does take some time to diagnose properly your plants, because sometimes you'll get a photo and you may not have necessarily the whole picture there. But it just takes time to diagnose.
It's funny that you say that, because we have a tree that has sprouted, and it's actually grown a whole lot quicker than I thought it was going to. I think it's a walnut tree.
Okay.
But it's near my septic tank. And so I was going to call to see how if I needed to remove that tree, if I needed to, if it was all right where it was, because I don't mind where it's at. But I was really thinking about like the roots and how far the roots go down with that septic tank right there. So that's definitely going to call about that. So that's see, I'm already working on this kind of stuff.
Right. So we do see things like that occur where roots get into septic systems, and especially with faster growing species like willows. A lot of your faster growing species have the capacity, because they grow so fast, they find that water source, maybe find a crack or a break, get to that moisture, and then cause problems. So it's something to consider where you plant your plants. So a lot of people may be going to their nurseries and finding those plants, but you need to look at the perspective of where you're going to place that in your landscape. And so looking, calling Julie, making sure you've located those utilities before you dig is most important. You don't want to hit a fiber optic line and be out having the repairs to be done there. So lots to consider when it comes to planting. You want to find those plants that are appropriate for our zone, our location.
No palm trees.
No. Well, you can grow palm trees as house plants. And so you can have those outdoors during the summer and then bring those in and overwinter them quite well. So even palms can be grown here. Banana trees and other tropical, just the practices of gardening. That's how greenhouses came to be, is the oranges. They wanted to overwinter those, so they developed the culture of growing under glass. And so a lot of effort has been put into growing plants, and discoveries are made along the way. And that's what brings me here, is
that's really cool.
The University of Illinois Extension.
That's really cool. Do you guys? So you guys have some upcoming horticulture programs that are going to be taking place soon? Or they're actually going on right now and coming up.
Yeah, I just had a session last night at the Taylorville Memorial Hospital. They have installed some raised beds and going to be growing some produce there. So I gave a session on raised bed gardening and looking for some future endeavors there for not only the general public, but the people that work there. Had some good participation there from the staff. Also have container gardening with vegetables, so you can not only grow in a raised bed, but you can also grow in some containers. You can use all kinds of containers as long as they have adequate drainage and are food safe. So the 5-gallon bucket could be an option if you want to grow some produce in a bucket or another container. So that's going to be happening via Zoom and in person in Montgomery County, but that's on May 23rd from 3 to 4. Then the following week, from 3 to 4 on May 30th, is shade gardening. So a lot of people may have some shade provided by some trees in their yard, and grass doesn't tend to grow real well in those shady areas. So you may want to find a selection of perennials or annuals to grow under there. And so I'll be giving some options for those perennials to grow in the shade.
Yeah, you talked about that raised bed class. My dad absolutely loved raised gardens. He says he doesn't have to bend down as far over, and it allows him to like kind of sort things out as far as where he wants to put stuff, so it doesn't all get all jumbled together and everything. So yeah, he loves those.
It does make a good option for accessibility and also for planting out. There's been different methods. Square foot gardening, where you manage each square foot in the garden, is one that's popular for raised bed gardening.
Very cool. Yeah. So some great classes coming up: container gardening with vegetables and shade gardening as well. And where can people go to register for those courses, or can they just?
There's a short URL probably get you there pretty quickly. go.illinois.edu/CJMM events. And awesome. So you can find all of our events online and partake in what you would like.
Yeah, and definitely keep up with some interesting and innovative ways to make your garden maybe a little bit better, or make it a little bit easier for you when it comes to planting. Very cool, Andrew. Very cool. I like it. What else we got going on?
Well, the master gardeners are getting in full swing, so they have their help desk here on Thursdays, 9 to 11. And so they are participating in that and answering clients' questions. And also they've have a presence at the farmers market here in town. And so they have a tent that they set up and take questions and, get some outreach into the community. So the next session for that, I believe, is on June 10th and again on June 24th. So look for the master gardeners out in the community, and they're out there to spread the knowledge of horticulture and to expand the capacity of our horticulture program.
And like you said before, if you don't know the answer, you'll figure it out, right?
Yeah, takes a little effort.
Yeah, sometimes I know sometimes you get a question, you're like, oh, let me check and make sure I know what I'm talking about here. Very cool. Very cool. I love it. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk to Andrew a little bit more about some of the great stuff that's going on over at the University of Illinois Extension Office with the horticulture programs and all the great stuff that he has going on. You're listening to WTIM, your information station. We'll be right back right after this.
Your information station. WTIM.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn mixed, beans turning higher, wheat staying lower. July corn 557 down 4.5. September corn down 2, 495. December new crop up 3/4, 499 3/4. July beans up 4, 1341. August beans up 2.5, 1277 1/4. November new crop up 4 3/4, 1192 1/4. July wheat down 15, 610 1/2. September wheat down 14 1/2, 623 1/4. July bean meal 420.80. That's down 450. July bean oil 47.25. Up 84 cents. Livestock market at this hour. May feeders 205.07 up 52 cents. June live cattle down 17 cents. 164.65. June lean hogs up 67 cents. 85.55. Energy market. June crude oil 72.21 down 62 cents. Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
Hi, this is Will Perkins with Taylorville Community Credit Union. When you become a member of TCCU, you become an owner and have access to our great loan rates, earn great dividends on our deposit accounts, have access to our full range of financial products, and will receive personal attention from people you know. Membership is open to anyone who lives or works in Christian, Montgomery, and Shelby County. We are conveniently located in Taylorville, Hillsboro, Litchfield, and Pana. You can also visit us online at www.tccu.org. Come join us. You'll wonder why you waited. Member NCUA.
Hi, this is Jared White, host of Central Illinois Outdoors, inviting you to find us on the internet. We are up and running at centralillinoisoutdoors.com. You can jump on there to find our Catch of the Week segment. Also, our archive shows. After they air on the weekend, you can find them every Monday at centralillinoisoutdoors.com. So listen when you can. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search Central Illinois Outdoors. Central Illinois Outdoors on Facebook or at centralillinoisoutdoors.com. We'll see you there.
Spring is in full swing, and that means summer is right around the corner. Now is the time to call Southern Ledge Pools and Patios in Taylorville to schedule your pool opening appointment. Times are filling up, so call today. Get ready to entertain your outdoor guests with Lane's barbecue spices, seasonings, and sauces, now available at Southern Ledge Pools and Patios. Shop in-store and online. Southern Ledge Pools and Patios, 306 East Main Cross in Taylorville, your outdoor fun creator.
Computer Techniques, also known as CTI, is bringing fiber internet to local homes and businesses. For lag-free internet with speeds up to 1 gig, find out more by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Westervelt Mutual Insurance Company is a partner that understands the sacrifice you put into your farm. Find out how they can insure your farm and find a local agent by clicking their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station. WTIM.
And welcome back to WTIM Morning Show. My name is Leroy Clamola. Glad to be with you here this morning as we continue our morning show and talk to some of the great guests that we always get to talk to every morning here at WTIM. Our live stream brought to you by People's Bank and Trust and Landmark of Taylorville. And joining me this morning is the University of Illinois Extension horticulture educator, Andrew Holsinger. It all jumbles together.
Yeah.
Andrew, thanks so much again for taking a couple minutes to talk to us today.
Oh, sure.
All right. So we talked a little bit about some of the upcoming horticulture programs and some of the great stuff that's going on with gardening. And, I don't have a whole lot of time to do a green thumb, but I have a little tiny patch of garden that's over there. I got some blackberries that are growing over there that I grew. I started them last year. Didn't get anything because I know it takes a little bit for those things to get going.
Right.
But I looked yesterday and they have blossoms on there, so I'm pretty excited. So
yeah, when you go from prima canes to flora canes, you get into business whenever you get those flowers. That's what produces the fruit.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited. I was really, really excited to see that yesterday. So because I looked at I really went into this really naive as far as this goes. Long story short, because I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but long story short, I planted the very first year that I built this garden, I planted watermelons and cantaloupe, forgetting that they are vine plants, and kind of left it alone. It was raining enough. I didn't need to really pay it a whole lot of attention. Then I went out there to mow one time and realized that it had taken over a large portion, not only of my garden, but also my yard. So lessons learned from Leroy as far as the very first time to remember whether it's a growing up like tomatoes or corn, or whether it's growing out like vines. So we've learned our lessons as far as that goes.
Some of your cultivar selection can help with that. So choosing those bush varieties rather than the ones that trail and vine.
So that's why we're now using blackberries and blueberries and things like that.
There
so we
you
don't
go.
have to worry about it.
All right.
Weather, though, can play a big factor on gardens. And I know it's May. It's severe. There's a lot of severe weather that happens in Illinois in May. What are some ways that we can kind of protect our gardens when it comes to weather and being weather aware?
Being preventative is a good factor whenever it comes to trees. So your trees, they may have branches that have already maybe had some disease or broken branches. Some of those, you're walking along and you see this widowmaker hanging up there that's ready to fall. Well, that's not a good situation. So just getting out there and be observant of what your trees, the status of their health is, and do some preventative pruning. That's probably the best thing to get kind of prepared before the storm arrives, because we never know whenever it's going to arrive, and we want to be prepared as best we can.
Our neighbor has a tree that's leaning very heavily right now, and we've been kind of keeping an eye. I don't think it's in any danger of like landing on anything or any of that sort. But it's absolutely leaning pretty good right now. So we've kind of been just kind of taking bets on when the next big storm is going to come through. What it's going to do. So.
And talking about leaning, you can think also about the branch angles. So the attachment of the wood to the trunk, the strength of that varies on the branch angle. So choosing trees that have a wide branch angle, that's going to be more strongly attached than a narrow branch angle. So when you think about trees, you think about like the Callery pears. They have a very narrow branch angle that grow very upright, and they tend to be the ones that are broken up in the storm. So there's a species of trees that are more susceptible to storm damage. So you may want to take that into consideration whenever you're planting. Well, do I want to plant a silver maple that's going to have, a lot of storm damage in the future? Or do I want to plant maybe an oak tree that's going to be a bit more resilient? So that resiliency of species, looking at what you're planting, you can make some good decisions for the future. So you're not dealing with problems down the road.
I'll be honest with you. I never, you never think about, I don't at least, and I know you do, but I don't ever think about like, oh, what it's just a plant, but there's so much that can go into not only the plant, but like where you're at, location, where you're at in the state. I mean, there's a lot to think about, way more than what I realized when the very first couple of times that we've talked. But yeah,
people get to the mindset of what they like and what appears nice. You know, does it have good fall color? But then some of the things get missed, like what kind of leaf litter does this tree have? When you get older, you don't want to be raking the leaves so much. So, and then those sweet gum balls, people plant this. They've since come up with some cultivars that are fruitless, but for a long time we had the sweet gum balls that they get on the sidewalks. They cause, maybe a hazard for walking in the yard. So thinking about what you're planting, what kind of fruit it's going to have, the disease susceptibility. So there's some trees that are less susceptible to diseases, especially when it comes to your fruit trees. So just making wise decisions when it comes to planting, that can get you a long way for a healthy and well-maintained landscape.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. All right. We got about 30 seconds left. Any final thoughts, Andrew?
Yeah. If you want to get in contact with me, if you have some horticulture questions, easiest way is probably shoot me an email, aholsing@illinois.edu. You can also look for us on the web, extension.illinois.edu, go.illinois.edu/CJMM. Quick way to find us and find out what's going on with Extension.
That sounds fantastic. Oh, Andrew, again, thank you so much. It's always great catching up with you and seeing some of the cool stuff that's going on, not only in our gardens, but also in the plant world as well. So very, very cool. Thank you so much.
Good to be here.
All right. So we're going to take another break. When we come back, we'll have more of the WTIM Morning Show. And Andrew, again, Andrew Holsinger joining us, the horticulture educator at the University of Illinois Extension Office. You're listening to WTIM, your information station. We'll be right back in just a little bit.
Your information station, WTIM.
870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.
Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene planning to file articles of impeachment against President Biden over his handling of the southern border. The Georgia Republican alleges that Mr. Biden violated his oath of office by failing to secure the border, thereby safeguarding national security.